Will they mix it up?
I think Zaya, Rumble, and Alistar from KT, and just let Afreeca decide what poison they want to deal with. And there are plenty this time around, so it's going to be up to them. They are still leaving Zac up.
No.
Here we go. Zac is up.
I mean, in one fell swoop, you could let them have Zac and take away Modest Thresh. It just doesn't seem worth it, because Zac is just too strong. But you think about like one of the counters, if they want to go down that path.
But you can trade Zac for Elise and vice versa. And I think that's really the best bet here. No, they're giving up Elise. Okay. So no crazy engages. You're giving up Elise. Alistar is still available if they really want to. It was banned in both games 1 and 2 if Tucson really fancies playing that. But I feel like denying the Thresh is or has to be a priority here for Afreeca. Instead, it looks like they are thinking about going to the same formula that has worked with them so far. The Jarvan for Marin, and at this time at least, they are going to add that Thresh. You know they have to take it. You say you don't talk about the hover, but it's going to be locked in here. It just makes no sense for them to give it away, as they saw how vulnerable Marin was made when dealing with Mata.
Yeah, so they do counterpick that away from Mata. As I was talking about, they don't give away the Zac. That definitely would be pretty scary. Marin gets his Jarvan once again. He's going to play this 3 times in a row, and it does make sense. Or there, no, Marin played Rumble in game number 2. My bad. Give that Jarvan to Spirit, game 2. But
it appears that somebody has opened an entire jar of fresh anchovies inside the studio.
I smell that.
You smell that?
What the? What the hell?
Yeah. What's going on out there?
What is going on?
Who is doing this? Why? So fishy. Well, hold your breath in.
I wasn't even sure if anyone was recognizing the smell, but then you just called it out. You weren't scared to make it known to the entire world.
No, it's a stenching aroma. But Tristana does get locked in with Braum, so those two are a 2-man army that can peel for everybody else. And Twitch right away. Whoa, that is bold. At least he's going to be able to be a great late game insurance for Afreeca. But when you're dealing with how Mata and Death played the Tristana lane, you have to wonder, what can Twitch do in here? If he runs out of mana, his wave clear is not going to be nearly as impactful as Death's. And if Twitch ends up getting pushed in 24/7, he doesn't have the opportunities to go roam and be that playmaking AD carry that often puts enough pressure on the map like an Evelyn. So this is a bit of a risky move from Afreeca. They're going to have to address the pushing power of Tristana early on and swiftly. Otherwise, they will lose that first break in under 15.
Yeah, once again, a bunch of jungles will be banned out from the side of Afreeca. They want to take away all those red side jungles, take away the Rek'Sai. Already got that Gragas banned. Already have the Zac banned, Elise taken away. So options slowly, one by one, being ticked off the list. And double pawn bans as Talia, Cassiopeia are going to be banned out here by Afreeca.
But it feels like KT might be just throwing away their jungle bans, because remember, last game, it was Spirit that played the jungle Jarvan. Then sure, mechanically, he wasn't there, but it allowed that late game to be crazy good. So having the Jarvan at least gives him the option of saying, well, if the jungle bans are too much, we can always just move the Jarvan over to the jungle side, and Marin will have no problem with going with another pick. He doesn't have Rumble, and the Kennen got banned out, so KT is at least considering the possibility that it is a jungle Jarvan, and that they do not want to deal with a split-pushing Kennen on Marin. However, he has not found a lot of success recently on that pick, and whoa, Kassadin. That's bold.
This is very bold. I mean, they know they're going up against the Corgi, but they say, okay, we are fine with this matchup. Pawn can just chill, farm up, wait until mid-game and go into a side lane, I suppose. But definitely going to be waiting on that pick to have some potential. I'm trying to remember what they brought in for game number 1.
Game number 1 for Pawn? He was LeBlanc. He was LeBlanc.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But
Makes sense.
the boldness of the Kassadin means is because you're up against a Twitch that in a fight, if you don't find him and he gets to position himself better than you Rift Walk in, you get shredded down immediately, and the Renekton at least allows KT to have early game prowess in top and bottom. And with that side lane pressure, it should ease Pawn's laning phase because Tristana will push relentlessly. Renekton will be camped by Elise, so you have a lot of kill pressure with the Gnar onto, or you have kill pressure onto the Gnar with those 2 picks, and that makes Pawn's life a lot easier. So it's going to be a lot about score, ganking early, and we hope that this time around Afreeca at least shows some respect to what KT's doing. That we saw a million times what they do with Renekton and Elise. If they fall for it at minute 3, then they just must have some sort of Alzheimer to not recognize that it happens every damn time. Every time. That's the only thing anybody in the world does with Elise Renekton. You camp top. It's been happening for like 4 years now.
Yeah, I would have to agree. You put down a ward, too, and you know where she is. You know what route she's taking, and you still fall for it. So what does it take? How many wards have to go down? How many calls have to be made for Marin to just take a step back during that timing? It's not the longest timing in the world. Elise is not going to sit in the brush for a minute or 10. Just back off, play it safe, give up some CS so that you don't die and you don't get the snowball rolling.
We're going to take another look at the compositions. Full on early game for KT with the insurance of Tristana and Kassadin. So a great pick composition can surprise you out of nowhere over the wall. Everybody can get, so it will be cool to see that. And then Afreeca going with a more standard flavor of the Jarvan and the Corki, but they do have Twitch that is a huge late game monster, and then the Gnar that if he gets out of control, he can decimate a pick composition like what KT's running.
Yeah, Tucson had his own nice little troll with the Malphite hover. Everybody on the Korean side was fooled by that one. I wasn't fooled this time, Crumbs, thankfully. I kept my cool. But either way, guys, we're going to be jumping into game number 3, KT versus Afreeca. Game number 3, starting up match 69. Perfect as we jump into the decider for KT versus Afreeca.
You know that Kassadin skin, I think was, it's Australian. It's supposed to be Australian. Or at least to celebrate something Australian.
What is it exactly? I didn't get to see what it is.
Something of a Southern Cross, maybe. I think that's what the name is. I don't want to step over any offensive boundaries here, but that definitely has something to do with Australia. So I think the Australians can rejoice when that skin comes out, or like when it's played.
All right, cool. I'll just assume you're right. I have no idea myself, so I will just default to that. Kuro had to take Valkyrie level 1. That kind of sucks, but it's not going to be the biggest deal in the world.
Oh, but it is. It actually does hinder a lot of the pushing power that Corki has. It does make him safe against score, but it does mean that Pawn's laning phase will be a lot easier. He doesn't have to deal with Gatling gun harass or Frost bomb, so he's going to be A-okay, and Marin gets a cheeky trade onto Smeb, but he does have a D-shield, and that's just the cost of getting that red-sided ward. And wait a minute, Spirit, what are you doing at level 2? You went for a gank.
Well, they want to put pressure onto this Kassadin extremely early, and
the Valk follow-up.
The Valk follow-up. That was pretty.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. That didn't work at all, as Pawn was playing nicely safe, actually, back in the lane. Just not even trying to take trades. I mean, this is a Kassadin at level 1. I suppose they were waiting for him to run up and Q the Corki, especially because they knew that Kuro did not, he had to start the Valkyries, so I guess that was the idea, but definitely is going to delay the route here from Spirit.
Well, you've got to be realistic on Kassadin. No matter how much harass you get onto the other guy, you don't have kill pressure pre-6, so it's always easier, and Spirit's going to find score.
Okay, misses that knockup though. Pulls it a little bit short. Will it be enough though to pick up this kill? Is he even gonna flash? There it is. Gets the cocoon down, trying to get onto that blasting plant. He's away for now, but the flash coming in into the repel. Spirit going way deep here. And now he's on the run from the big croc. Will he be able to get out of this one? He doesn't have flash, and that will be first blood. Smeb picks up the kill and double buff in the top lane.
What does Spirit have against Martin? Why does he keep making his lane so much harder? Double buffs now to Smeb, and he didn't even have to burn Flash for that one. It's just a free kill for Renekton, and now Nar is in a heap of trouble. He's going to take that much longer to scale, and oh, Spirit. Why? So he misses the combo, so he short sides it. So no longer does he have some serious kill pressure. He's thinking, okay, maybe this is the time. Gets that auto. I think one more auto could have done the difference had he flashed right away instead.
Yeah.
Waits to go for the flag and drag here. But he forget about the repel. He is lucky that that knockup hit on Smeb, and he still has to slice and dice to follow through with the auto attacks and just have that free donation. And my God, that must be so annoying if you're Marin.
It's just really tilting overall as a team. I mean, you have your jungler kind of mess up 2-3 times in a row mechanically and now get extremely far behind after missing a level 2 gank in mid against the Kassadin. It's not looking good against the very early game team of KT.
Oh no, Marin's gonna get dove here. He's gonna die.
Oh no.
Look at the fat wave. TP's down. He bought a D blade. He's not that tanky. Mininar just work. Okay, he's checking the brush. So wise.
Yeah,
so
very wise. And he does get cocoons here, but again, 1v1 score can't take him out. So this buys enough time for Spirit to make his way up and try to redeem himself. The flash in, though, into the stun. Will they have enough burst damage? Flashes over that wall, trying to repel in, but it's not enough to kill him. And the TP comes out here from Kuro to make sure that they don't go any deeper, but that kill will not go down onto Marin.
Oh, I have so much respect for Marin at this point. This guy has had the worst luck in the lane, with both Spirit just donating a bunch of stuff early on to his opposing laner. Okay.
Ooh, that max range, and can they take the kill this time? Yes, they can. And they do it. Nicely done. What a play by Score.
What an angle, just threading that one through the needle, through all the minion. Times it so well with the teleport from Smeb, and you know, still I want to hold praise to Marin because he has had so much crap happen in his lane that he's still capable of thinking, all right, am I gonna get ganked right here? Am I in danger? Spots the gank out, and while he did die initially, he was able to buy out time to stall out everything. We're gonna look at the angle here so they see what's going on. What? Okay, so I guess they just don't respond quickly enough because he steps forward, but it was very well done from KT.
Good execution. Pawn actually teleports back in the lane. That should force Kuro into kind of a sticky situation here, although he's sticking around, but you can see that Score is making his way towards mid, and finally he will back off. So look at that top lane difference right now. Already over 1,000 gold ahead is Smeb with 2 kills and almost doubling the CS.
And almost doubling the gold too. You say over 1,000, but contextually, that's 2,600 gold to around
2,100.
Oh, was it 2,100?
Yeah, well, Deft, he's going to get locked up here. Not much that he can do. He's going to CS his way, trying to pick up as much gold as he can on the way out. Nice job by Tushin. There was a sign in the crowd during pick and ban that was like, just believe in Tushin. Tushin fighting. He is the answer.
Was that his mom? What?
Might have been.
Often it's mothers that have so much support, but a beautiful hook there. Hits Deft, and with the lantern to post, this is really important for Afreeca. The fact that they're getting a kill now onto the Twitch, who was previously losing the lane in CS, now gets to go back, will have his completed Cutlass, and their life just got made a whole lot easier. So annoying, Mata. But it's, you know, it's annoying, but it's the right play because it buys time, and that time might mean 1 or 2 CS that he misses that becomes experience, that adds up, that's gold, it becomes a worse base spike, it lets Tristan have more time to get a lead. So always stalling out bases when you know it's safe to do is the right choice. Unless, you know, you go crazy out of your way. You have throwback to Lemonation days, taking 5 turret shots to stop somebody at base.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth it. You got to play it by ear. That time, obviously worth it. And Now Score is going to be invading. But look at Tushin. Again, he's up here in the top side. He's like, okay, we got that kill. Now I got to make a play up in top side. I have to help my team. Won't amount to much, but at least they saved the red buff. But they will lose this bottom lane turret.
This is why Tristana is so damn good right now. She's not that carry champion. Sure, she can hit that late game where in the right hand she can do a wealth of damage, but in the laning phase, she hinders anybody from roaming. If you do roam, you're gonna lose your tower. So you isolate the top side of the map, whereas the bottom side needs to always be thinking about her, and that just makes it that much harder. It should be fine.
The read here, can they put enough damage down? Kuro, you can see Pawn just very, very calmly trying to turn it around onto Kuro, forced to flash away. Ooh, getting a little bit overconfident there. But now it's time to pick on Marin again. Flashing on in. Here comes Score. That's another kill for Smeb, who is now 3-0 on the Croc.
Well, we knew this was going to happen, and we see it happening right before our eyes. That Elise and Renekton are completely over Marin. Unfortunately, we want to wonder what could have happened in this lane if it wasn't for Spirit's generous donation.
Yeah, he's just trying to help out, and he actually gave a bit of an embarrassed smile after that whole play went down. I mean, this is a guy who has Mowgli breathing down his back every time. Now it's Smeb's turn, who's going to jump into Spirit, saying, okay, can Mata actually save his life? They're trying to trade this one, but here comes Kuro. Immediate exhaust. They will push him away. Just a little bit more damage. The blasting blood, though, the cocoon! He saves his life. Score gets in there, and now they're looking for more kills. The canceled TP from Marin saying, hey, I'm getting the hell out of here. Now Deft is on the chase, trying to get some more. Spirit even going to flash here, but there's the follow-up. Nice lantern, though. Tushin, I'll say it again, he's trying so hard to carry. He wants it so bad, but his team won't let him have the win.
It's weights, like it's adaptive weights. They get heavier the more he tries. It's so unfortunate. They just don't have enough damage right now, but unfortunately Kuro did miss some critical rockets there on that play, but it felt like they did not commit wholeheartedly onto going for depth, and we're going to look at it again. So we're waiting, okay, is he going to think about flash play? How are they going to stop them? Instead he jumps onto Spirit, and they could not have expected that one, so they're trying to get as much damage as they can, and while Kuro does join, the exhaust stops a lot of damage, and here at the end, that final rocket just barely gracing depth keeps him alive. It definitely would have, but it does get Kuro killed, and Spirit miraculously lives. But you know, it's not miracle, it's Tushin.
Yes, very true. Tushin, the miracle worker for his team. The show of the supports. Mata, they're helping out his teammate, getting him to safety. The nice glacial fissure into the exhaust combo to keep him alive for long enough to allow Kuro to make that mistake in the play. Now it looks like they're on the chase for Pawn, but again, you're chasing a Kassadin, a very hard thing to do. That look! What the hell? What is that? He's trying to turn it around now, but he can't.
Oh,
Tushin,
moly.
who is this guy?
Holy crap! That hook!
Oh man,
that was insane! Oh my god!
Get out your cameras, boys and girls. We got a highlight reel for you tonight. Even if Afreeca lose, man, this guy is on fire.
He is trying his darndest, but the rest of KT is too far ahead. Marin almost is being doubled in CS right now. He barely has a phage, whereas Smeb already has a cleaver. They're just so far ahead. They've lost their tier 1 middle, their tier 1 bottom, and top. It's all just falling apart, but they have tools to stall, and you can always bank on Twitch into the late game. So for now, Afreeca needs to go in full-on defensive mode. And we're going to look at the 1v1 between mid laners, but Tushin is going to be the standout hero for this one. The turret does regenerate, so Pun has to return for some more, but it buys enough time for Thresh to make it into this fight. But just wait for the hook. It needs no introduction.
Really sick. Point blank and perfect timing too. Right before Pawn actually jumped the wall. Very well read. I mean, he saw the little movement back that Pawn was making, and so he had a way to predict that. But you know, it's easy to see the play in slow motion, but to actually pull that off, very, very hard.
That's exactly how difficult it's going to be for Afreeca to stay in this game. They don't have a single completed item just yet, except for the Cinderhook onto Spirit. But it's the Jarvan. He's utility at this point. He's never going to be the one to single-handedly carry, no matter how great his knockups are, which they haven't been. But they still need damage.
Yeah. Well, these teams haven't been getting too lucky with the Drakes. We do just have a lot of Ocean Drakes after laning phases end. And again, it does help out the long-term push, but not what they're really looking for. Would like some Mountain Drakes to really push this game, get it to continue to accelerate.
It would be nice for them to have a Mountain or an Infernal, but the hand they're dealt will be sufficient. Box comes out.
Tushin's like, well, I may have gotten myself in some trouble this time around, but I'm good enough to play them away. Not the hardest play in the world this time. But KT, they don't want to go super deep. Just looking for that pick, and at least they do get the box out of him.
You know, that could have legitimately been the window that Afreeca was looking for. Meganar was about to come up. You've got the spray and pray on Twitch, but I like the restraint that Afreeca goes for. It's not unrealistic to think that the Unbreakable could have stopped much of Twitch's damage, that the teleport from Kuro would have come out, pardon, the teleport from Pawn would have come out and made a big difference. So instead, they choose not to fight and guarantee themselves the game to stall out a little bit more. Herald does get used, and I think it will yield this tier 2.
Yep. It's got the full health charge, at least for now. And they won't get it on this push, doesn't look like. Yep, this is going to go down, and immediately KT does back off. So at least getting a ton of damage very early on in this game. Keep in mind, guys, that we're still below 15 minutes, even though KT is 6,000 gold ahead at this point in time.
A big part of that chunk of change is on Smeb, though, so it's not the champion that is optimal for you to carry a game. Look at him right now, 6,200. He's about 2,500 up on Marn, so it's a big part of their advantage. And Renekton right now has an easy time in making the most out of his gold, but when it hits that late game, he really just becomes a big tank that is unlikely to close the gap onto Kramer, onto Kuro, and that just means that is the window that Afreeca want to go for. They just need to buy time any way that they can. Don't look for any fights. Make sure that Pawn or the rest of KT overcommit. They have done so twice. In Game 1 and Game 2, they made mistakes in going over Zealous for some kills, and they paid heavily in Game 2. Game 1, they're too far ahead to do so. It feels like that's the stage that we're at right now, but because this time at least Afreeca have a late game insurance, we know that they can still put up a decent effort into winning.
Kuro in a pretty rough spot, even 15 minutes into the game, no Trinity Force, so no spike for him. Nothing that they can really play around in terms of the spikes, and as you're saying, they're not really trying to. They're just trying to sit back, relax, farm, maybe, you know, sip on a cocktail on the beach, just wait it out. But we'll see if KT allows them that room, as you can see they're trying to get some vision down, maybe push the top lane, take out that top turret, but as I say that, a big rotation down into bot for 4 members, so they're going to leave Smeb up in top and bring the rest of them kind of as a roaming crew, see what they can see, pick off who they can pick off.
But because KT is invading the jungle, they have amassed a pretty big CS lead in literally every role. 40 in the top lane, 13 in the jungle, 30 in the mid lane, 30 in the AD carry. So they're still getting gold, even though they aren't pushing for objectives yet. So they're okay doing this. They're just saying, you know what, we're getting to the point that we want. We know that Pawn is going to be able to decimate Kuro later on. So we have no problem playing this time around. We can respect the Twitch, and right now he's nowhere near as strong as he would have to be for us to respect him and be truly scared of him. So let's just play this way out. We'll get our tier 2s, and then we'll think about Baron. I mean, it hasn't even spawned yet, so this is perfectly fine for them.
Yeah, this time the rotation is in top. Going to bring 4 members, and again, just leave Pawn into the bottom side. Does pick up a Sheen for now, but no big picks. Still looking for it. Would really love that top side turret, and it looks like with Deft up here, they're going to make a big play. But again, rotation's coming up. Kuro still does have his teleport. No big ward, though. And looks like KT will just be deterred for now as the rest of Afreeca make their way up.
But look at how KT actually played that out. They rotated the dual lane, which was in mid to bottom side. They realized, okay, there is not an opportunity here. Corki's wave clear is too good. Let's try to go top side. So they go top. They try to get the turret. They see Afreeca respond. And then in return, they send Smeb to the mid lane so that he controls the wave, so that they're always farming 3 lanes at once, get as much value out of the pressure that they have. And now the gold lead that was previously about 6,000 is now a little bit over 6,500. So it's building without getting any kills and without getting any turrets.
Yep, just the slow play here from KT. Sometimes teams can get out of hand if they get impatient and begin diving turrets, as KT has done, but realistically, as long as you keep this lead alive, you do have a late game yourself, so you can wait it out. And, Mata in a bit of trouble here, is going to be death sentence, and they're going to use everything onto him, but here comes the Glacial Fissure, and all of a sudden, this is going to turn around. 1 kill onto Kramer, and that should be the push onto at least 1 turret.
It's just so hard not to take what appears to be somebody on KT getting out of position. You see him there, you think you've got the damage, but exhaust comes out. The rest of Afreeca cannot follow up with enough damage, while KT can. The cocoon hits, there is exhaust to top everything off, and so they lose a member. The tier 2 cracks, and what appeared to be Mata getting caught somehow ends up being 2 turrets and another kill going to KT that is just going to snowball this one out of control. And here comes again. The hook is out. Great, but there's only 1 damage dealer. It's Twitch. He gets knocked up, exhausted, cocoon, and then the concussive blows to top everything off.
It's almost like he's baiting it. I mean, he has to know where Afreeca is on the map. You know, people always used to compliment Mata on his crazy game sense, and you have to know where they're at. You're putting down one of the deepest wards in the red side jungle that is possible, and you get caught out. You know you're a super tanky Braum. If you want to force a fight, maybe that's the way you do it. You have all your summoners up. You know that even if you die, your team can convert into a big play if Afreeca gets out of position enough. So whether it was on purpose or not, I'm not really sure, but it was definitely a good play for KT at the end of it all. And now they're really looking to accelerate. We got the Baron finally up here at 20 minutes. And they're looking for a pick in the red side jungle.
It's quite possible, yeah, right? That he knows where he's at. He knows where his allies are, that they have mobilities, that Tristana's range to follow up is huge. But it's also a weakness of Jarvan. Jarvan jungle, you do not have any kill pressure with your support, so you have to be all about that team play. You have to wait for everybody to be there, and you as 2 people just can't kill anybody, whereas you've got Braum and Elise who offer not only more hard CC, but way more damage.
Yeah, definitely is the case, and KT, they're looking for that top tier 2 again. I mean, this has been the play. They take out all the top tier 2s finally, or not the top tier 2s, but all of the tier 2 turrets. And now it looks like they want to get onto this pawn. But again, it's Kassadin. You got your team nearby. They use the package, trying to get some damage. But in the end, Kuro takes more damage than anyone else. Spirit smartly evades a gank from his own jungle. And KT just really going ahead with this one. They're 9,000 gold ahead now and looking to take the series.
They're going to get this quick dragon. It's a freebie whenever they can, although they are thinking otherwise. They have Baron as a possibility there, but they will need multiple members in the area. And while they did acquire some vision on the red side, Afreeca has had enough time to both not only establish some of their own, as we have Tucson going into the river to get some vision out, but they also will have time to clear out the vision that KT has placed. So they've got a timer on this one, and they're going on to Marin, but this will not yield a whole lot. It's just a Renekton. You get burst, and that's it.
They're really trying to set up this play, though. I mean, they ping out the ward that was in the river, and here we go. Deft coming over the wall, and here comes Smeb too. There you go. Enough burst damage coming out from both Deft and Smeb. Will pick up the kill onto Marin.
Pings onto Baron are coming out. They haven't done enough to clear the waves. Topside is pushing in the favor of Afreeca, so KT will need to be thinking about their next move carefully. Looks like they just want to control the waves, buy some time. That will retreat. They know a little bit better now. This is Mata. He's tanky. He gets out.
Yeah. Again, he gets caught in the same position. That time, I don't think it was on purpose, but again, he's super tanky, has all of his summoners, has the flash to get out of there. and he is super fine.
Well, that time there was also a lot more Afreeca members to actually kill him, so he would have gone down had he not used his own flash. So he uses it wisely and Death finds Tucson.
Yeah, definitely the case here. And trying to get the knock-up really nicely, picking off Tushin at the corner of that Glacial Fissure. Does pick up the kill for the Tristana. And Spirit's up at this point. He can try to go for the steal, but KT way far ahead, and they might just go for this Baron.
Yeah, these picks have just become all too easy. It's all about Spirit. Can he go for a steal? But he's got to deal with a flanking Kassadin, with a Renekton that's thinking about going for a deny onto him, and then Tristana, who's got Buster Shot as well.
Now look at Smeb. He's like, yeah, I dare you to come in. But Mata is getting low. The Cocoon doesn't hit Spirit. A nice knockback there onto Smeb. And in fact, it looks like they want to go onto Spirit here. They're very careful, very cautious about this Baron. And finally, it will go down to the side of KT. But was getting close. Here comes Depth, though, for the kill. And Pawn hopping that wall. They're looking for more. Kuro getting extremely low. Gonna hop it with that exhaust. But this time, he goes a little bit too far.
The TP.
Yeah, they're looking for Kuro here. Doesn't have his Valkyrie. That's going to be the kill. So 3 members of Afreeca are down, and Baron goes over to KT.
Yeah, this one is over. We don't want to say it, but it's already happened. The Kassadin has gotten too far ahead, and the windows of opportunity for Afreeca to make it back are about 2.5 items away. That is just so damn much, but their base is already in shambles. They have to defend against the imminent 1-3-1 that will come out, and that's going to be way too difficult. We're going to look at the Baron replay again, and the way they peel against Spirit is great. You've got Tristana autoing over the wall, and Kassadin harassing the backline on the side. Score can easily stay inside the pit because Tristana's range at level 13 allows her to hit that Baron from the backside. So secures a kill, and that's just the beginning of the end. The exhaust is going to be critical in keeping Kuro alive as he so gracefully dodges out of what Tristana's range is, but gets picked off by Renekton in the end. And now that's a 5-0-1 Crocodile who is up against a 0-4-1 Gnar. That's not a very threatening Yordle.
You ever go in those really small bathrooms that have tiny windows and you're like, I wonder if I got in a lot of trouble, could I escape out of that window? That's what Afreeca's feeling like right now. They got this tiny little window where they're like, can I squeeze myself out of this if need be?
I was seriously wondering where you were going with that.
The answer is no. I mean, unless you're like a gymnast or you have this, you're extremely thin or just a very small person in general, that's the only way you squeeze yourself out. And basically, Afreeca, they're going to need a similar miracle. Somehow they're going to have to turn into that kind of composition here. And they're down 13,000 gold. They need the gold for this Twitch. They need the gold for this Corki. The best hook in the world at this point couldn't bring their team back. Sorry, Tushin. You had a very highlight-filled game, but it's not going to help your team.
And Twitch at this point is not going to help them either. And to answer your question, yes, I have been in those bathrooms. Has the thought come into my head if I could squeeze out of there? Kind of, but that's not really how I view it. I'm more like well, I could break this window and then maybe I could fit through here. And if I don't, then I will accept the consequences of whatever actions have led me to try to escape out of a tiny bathroom.
I mean, it's all about the process. You got to break it, you got to escape. And now Smeb, he's going 1v4, and he doesn't really care. He's got Dominus up, he's got the rest of his team. This is going to be the cleanup. Bring out the mops, because KT, they've all turned into janitors. They want to take out all of these members. 4 go down. Marin says, oh, I'd like to save my KDA, so I'm just going to wait in the pool. You guys can go die. I don't really care, because my team already lost. KT looking to take the 2-1 victory with the sweep here at the end.
Saving Marin's KDA at this point is just, oh, he gets the kill onto the lasers. Well, this KDA is still in ruins, though. I think he is 0-5-2 or 0-4-2.
Well, he got that kill, so at least he does get the 1 kill. Either way, guys, what really matters is that KT picks up the win. And Afreeca, they had their game 2. They had their moment to shine, but KT, in the end of the day, will be the better team. So a very important win to take over Afreeca. Definitely one of the harder teams here in LCK, and KT, they're just trying to secure their spot up at the top of LCK. So any win that they can get at this point, it's going to be really good for them.
Of course, now that places them at first place, tied with Longju and Samsung at 11-3, and Afreeca goes down to 8-6, so a bit farther away from SKT. Although that game 3 in particular, I wonder what could have been. You know, the donation to SMEB. I don't really, you know, how hard could it be for you to go ahead and do something like that? How could you?
How could you?
That's all right. Well, we've all been there. And then
yeah.
Tusin's like, man, you know, I was the one guy that was relatively unknown. I'm trying my hardest, but these veterans, what's up, guys? Come on. You guys have been playing for years.
Maybe we need a role swap. Perhaps Tushin, he's got to play Thresh jungle, and we get Jarvan support here for Spirit, because, I mean, as I was saying before, I didn't really have a lot of time to say it, but you got a couple of pretty weak games again by Spirit after they started Mowgli, and he didn't have a good game in game number 1, kind of a weak one for him too. They don't really have a jungle to rely on at this point. It was like, okay, we got to light a fire under Spirits, but we got to get him fired up. We got to get him angry because the sub is coming in instead of him. But then he comes in after the sub doesn't do well, and he has a couple of not so great games. So what do they have to rely on in the jungle at this point?
Well, not their jungler. The draft is what they have to be looking for, and we're going to take another look at some replays here. This is a mid-game fight where Def just barely lives by the skin of his teeth, and you'd think that Spirit would die as well, but actually he does not. SMEB, for some reason, path to the left, and that might have... Wait, you don't get to see it, though. You didn't subscribe, did you? Well, we do get to see Kuro going down, or taking down Pawn with a beautiful hook from Tusin. But wait a minute, what is next? Is it a full replay? Do we know? This one might be the one. Mata gets hooked. But he's going to stay alive in this one because we know what happened. We watched everything. The exhaust comes out on Kramer, but they're already too far behind. Looking for action at this stage in the game was not the right call. They lose 2 turrets off that one, and this is the back end of the Baron play. This is where KT was sealing the deal.
Seal that envelope. Get that win. Make it into first place. KT, they've got to be feeling pretty good. They did lose, I think, that one series to Rocks, which they might be kicking themselves for, but outside of that, they've definitely become a lot more consistent compared to spring, and they're looking pretty good going into the later weeks of LCK.
They absolutely are. KT is now finally showing what they can, and it might just be their time to shine now that SKT is struggling so much. Without SKT in contention for first place, maybe that's a sigh of relief that KT needed to say, yes, we're the best when they're not around. Daddy's not home. But they can trash the place, and now they're shooting for first. Look at the damage on Jarvan. He did less damage than Braum. You know why? Because he missed all the abilities.
He also went 0-2 in about, what, 5 minutes?
That was game
definitely
2.
Doesn't,
yeah, that was the game 2 0-2.
Yeah, well, either way, Jarvan not having a good time. We're going to throw it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Hi, this is Ji-sun, your translator, and here we have Pawn for the interview. So, how you feel today? I think I performed really well in all 3 sets, so I feel really good. Personally, I think I've been playing really well, especially I don't die during the series, so I think my performance is on such a level. So in the first set, SMEB followed back to you to save you, but SMEB was left behind and died. What did he say to you? Well, that wasn't my shot call. Actually, just SMEB said he will come for me, so I wasn't really sorry. Well, and it was really close. I could get him for sure, but their backup was really strong. So, in which situation do we play LeBlanc? Well, our jungler got the OP Alice, so I thought we could carry in the mid jungle synergy, so I picked LeBlanc. Then what kind of feedback did you guys have after the game 2? Well, we open fights when we didn't really have to open it, so we trying to just stay away from the fights. Then let's check out the MVP.
Well, let's see who it is going to be for game number 2. It is Score on the Elise. 71% kill contribution, did not die a single time, and he escaped.
Escape the grasp of Spirit here. Just whacking away at the spider. That's when you start whacking it with your shoe and it just doesn't die. You're like, you know what? I'm bringing out the flip-flop instead.
It was game 3 where Spiro went 0-2.
He did that in both games.
Oh. Oh, man. Poor guy. We're going to head over to the translation again.
So we're back with Score. So I haven't got many MVP points this season, so I feel really good right now. Any message for Score? It was a rough season for you, but thank you for playing so well for us. So how was the game 2? I think actually MVP points are like meaningless unless you are in the first place. So we actually want this map to get the MVP points to fight with the Crow, but I'm sorry that I got the MVP points. So your ganks in the early game made a lot of points. Was that planned? So when you're playing Alice, the gank is really strong compared to other junglers, so I think I capitalized that. Well, recently I haven't been landing my cocoons really well, so I practiced a lot for today's match. How was Score's play in the game 3? At the end of the game, I saw he had more gold than me, so I think he played the game really well. Overall, I didn't really make a lot of super plays in the game, but I just got lucky to get the MVP points. So it was my lucky day. So last message for your fans, please. We'll be working hard for the upcoming matches, so we will go to the higher ranks. I think we are kind of lacking in the win points, so we will try harder to make 2-0 games and make it to the first place. And this was the end of the interview. Thank you for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Ji-sun, for helping us out with that one. And it was funny to hear how they were like, oh, we wanted to give Smeb the MVP points because it doesn't really matter if I get MVP points at this time. We want him to challenge the other guys at the top. But unfortunately, he didn't play good enough, even on the, 5-0 Renekton?
And they wanted to challenge Kuro on the opposite side of the Afreeca Freecs, and now they're sitting at 8-6. So 1 win and 1 loss more than SKT, 1 win less. Scratch that one. So they are now sitting at a comfortable 5th place, and Jennera plays later today against Rocks Tigers. That they are, you know, they're coming in as favorites, but there is also a chance that they do lose to Rocks Tigers, whereas KT has now solidified themselves in the first place, but with a tie, a 3-way tie. So that's a lot of action that will separate all 3 of them.
Yeah, you can see the indicator points on the right side to kind of rank where these teams are, but as you're saying, they have the same amount of wins, the same amount of losses, and yeah, I mean, Rocks is a weird team. Rocks could show up tonight and maybe kick Jennera down here, because Jennera, they need to win basically every game to have a chance, and they need Afreeca to lose. And as I was talking to you before, actually before the game started is the last matchup is Jin Air Afreeca that Jin Air has and that Afreeca has. That's on the last Saturday of all of it. So it really could get interesting if, Afreeca loses a bunch of games and Jin Air wins a bunch. We could have a big upset towards the end. I think it's unlikely given these two teams, but it's possible.
Well, Afreeca do have some relatively easier matchups. They do play up against Samsung in their next showdown, but then they
Super
have
easy.
Ever 8, MVP, and then Jin Air. So
Okay,
statistically, it's 3 people that are below them with 1 above. So that's a pretty good record for 4.
Yeah, definitely is. And I would root, or not root, but I would think that Afreeca would come through here over Jin Air to make it into the playoffs. I think we do have our top 5 pretty much set. But we'll see if Jin Air can try to break in there. But guys, we are going to go to a quick break before we get to that matchup, so see you soon.